Welcome back to another episode of It's All Been Trekked Before. This is a special one. We're not even talking about a Star Trek episode, the original series. No, we're hopping to the future. Literally to the future, relatively speaking, but right now. It's the Orville. It's Seth MacFarlane's series. Got a big Star Trek bent to it. You'll see what you mean. You'll see what you mean. You saw what you mean, because you probably watched it if you're listening to this. If you haven't watched it, you're going to listen to this, you're going to hear how much Star Trek is in it, and you're going to say, I got to watch that. Unless you don't like Seth MacFarlane, in which case, you should still watch it. So give a listen, hear what we have to think about it, weigh your decision based on that. We don't all agree on this, believe it or not. We're not in total agreement. Some other things to check out on the IABD network. How about Nikki Tells You How to Live Your Life? It's a video series. Video series, yes. Something that those of us who've known Nikki a long time have been wanting for years. It's finally here. It's going to be funny. There's a pilot episode, and the new episode, the very first episode, is out now. Go check it out. It's going to be funny, and it might actually improve your life. Also, just now out, season 4 of GOD is my BFF. Go check it out. You might, if you haven't been playing, following along, go check out 1, 2, 3. Get caught up. Do it. Do it all at IABDpresents.com. And now, see what we have to say about the Orville. Is it Orville Wright? Is it Orville Redenbacher? Is there some other Orville we don't know about? Maybe you've got the answer. It's all here on It's All Been Trekked Before.
Welcome to a special bonus episode of It's All Been Trekked Before.
Bonus!
We are still on hiatus, but we came back to give you something special.
Breaking news.
A little gift. Tonight on Fox was the premiere of The Orville. And since it's kind of in the wheelhouse of Star Trek fans,
absolutely.
We decided it would be fun to go ahead and talk about it a little bit. So let's first say who's all here.
This is Steven.
And Keith.
Jimmy-Jerome.
Colleen.
Yay. So most of the normal peeps. What did you guys think of The Orville?
I thought it was great. I'm looking forward to seeing the rest of the season, see where it goes, see if they can sustain it.
It's not just a dumb comedy.
It isn't, and I thought it would be. I thought it would be a lot more of the Seth MacFarlane, less of the this more serious stuff. But obviously, he's a big fan.
Oh yeah.
So I think he's remaining fairly faithful so far, but also expanding and creating his own universe, which is cool.
Keeping the spirit.
Yes.
And the general story guidelines of the original of Star Trek in the universe, but then making the interactions with the characters a little more authentic to how we're used to seeing people interact.
Absolutely, yeah. And especially where we are right now in our rewatch, as you listen, one of the things we bemoan quite often is not getting to see enough of the other crew interaction. And we often joke and create that interaction of what they might be saying to each other, which in this show you actually start hearing it and stuff.
Well, it's got a large cast. There's eight leads. Yeah. And that doesn't even count the supporting characters we saw.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's as big, if not bigger, than most Star Trek series.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it, of course. It's just, I was thinking the same thing. I didn't know what to expect, but I'm sure that somehow it was assuming it was going to be a little sillier than it is.
Yeah.
And to be sure, it is. There is a lot of comedy in it, a little bit of slapstick occasionally.
I saw it was listed as a dramedy, so that surprised me, which I guess just means they're playing it straight for the most part, and then there's some comedy. But yeah.
I mean, I would say that I was almost comparing it to like a Marvel movie in some places. It was sort of like not quite as serious, a little sillier, but it's a very good ratio, I think. They were able to go a little further than you would in something that people are supposed to take, air quotes, too seriously. But at the same time, there was definitely real danger at stake. There feels like there are real stakes at stake, for lack of a better phrase, which I can't seem to make right now.
Well, there's real pathos. There's real emotional investment. Right. I mean, it's ridiculous in the second episode when they're cheering crewmen for something, like the way it resolves, which we won't get into too much because that's next week. Right. But the main plot of that character is really interesting and dramatic and.
Yeah, that's what I thought too. I was like, oh, this. I mean, it was affecting. It was nice.
Right.
And we talked about the Galaxy Quest comparisons before we went on, and and Galaxy Quest had some emotional impact too. But I think obviously this is going to be longer and a bigger arc, and more arcs or whatever. So ideally, if it succeeds.
Yeah, we should mention that we're not going to spoil episode 2, but we did watch 2 episodes
Yes.
right before this, so we will spoil episode 1 if you haven't seen it.
Yes.
But episode 2 will just kind of tease you that I thought episode 2 was as good as episode 1.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Actually,
yeah.
a little more complex, a little deeper, because
Yes.
now the premise was set up and you could get into some of the character development.
Yeah, stuff was already kind of set. The original stories in the first one, and I made a note that and I thought this in the first episode and even more in the second, but both applies it. I feel like they should know more about all these other species, these other, but obviously it's for exposition for us. That
Well, it seems like there's a lot of them.
And
Like,
that's-
it seems
that's
like
really
it's been
cool.
out for a while.
Yeah.
They've got 3,000 spaceships
Yes.
out there.
Yes.
And, I mean, a lot of the crew's pretty diverse.
Yep.
Not just in Earth people, but quite a few aliens in the crew.
That is true. That is quite a good point. It's
Yeah.
I think kind of separates it from the other
Right.
series that have come before. They aren't just like token representations of we
Right.
just made this concession with this famous enemy that now it's just they could be from anywhere. So
yeah,
I think Star Trek would have had more aliens with a bigger budget. But
Yeah.
if you want to compare it to a diversity, Star Wars and
Right.
Mos Eisley or whatever, there's
Right.
a lot of different
Yeah.
species represented. And so that's why, I don't expect them to be able to recall every species
Sure.
immediately.
sure. Colleen, what did you think?
This is not something that I would watch again unless I was with Steven and he asked me to.
No, not your cup of tea.
No, I just don't think it's that funny. It's just...
Yeah.
Maybe there's too much inside humor with the Star Trek references that I'm not getting. I don't know.
I don't
I
think
would
so.
say there were a lot of references.
I think it's more of a Seth MacFarlane thing.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Do you like Family Guy?
Sometimes.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, I'm a Seth MacFarlane fan.
I am too, yeah.
I watched Family Guy when it first came out instead of watching Friends, and when it first came out, it was canceled. I don't think everything he does is perfect. Obviously, I loved his Academy Awards hosting. I don't necessarily despise 1,000 Ways to Die in the West or whatever, but I also recognize it's not a great movie by any means either, by any means. So, but yeah, and obviously Family Guy's been on forever, and not every episode's a winner. But it's been on for 15th season. But I still watch it on TBS or Adult Swim, more likely TBS now. But there were definitely the extended bits where it goes far and then it goes a little further than it was supposed to go, and it gets elongated, and that's
Very Seth MacFarlane-esque.
yes, yeah, and a lot of the little asides were very Seth MacFarlane. So
And just, some of the crew interactions, for sure. The husband-wife thing.
yeah,
So that's
the
probably
crux.
the big draw they're trying to go for is Seth MacFarlane plays the captain, and the first officer is Adrian Palicki, whatever. I can't pronounce names. But I love her from Friday Night Lights and Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Okay.
And she plays his ex-wife, who he caught cheating on her only a year ago, who is
Yeah.
now his first officer.
it's interesting. It's gonna be interesting to see if they can sustain this for.
They have good chemistry.
So that is absolutely true, and I think it's. I don't think it's necessarily. I mean, they're already playing that she's more qualified maybe than he is.
Oh, yeah.
To do
I
this.
mean, you've already seen the end of episode 1
Yes.
where she reveals that she got him the command.
Yeah.
So obviously she feels bad about her part of the mistakes in the marriage.
Right.
But they're also playing it as they both screwed up. It's
not a
her
blame
fault.
thing,
Right.
yeah, which I appreciated. So that'll be.
Although, as Colleen might say, she cheated.
She did.
And that's the bottom line.
She did.
Done.
And she's not wrong, I'm just saying.
Right. That'll be an interesting dynamic, and it seems like it seems like a contrivance, and it is, but
It is.
it's.
Well,
They rationalize it.
It's interesting. The first officer and the captain's chairs are side by side in a living room, like mommy and daddy.
Right.
Equals.
Right.
Not so much one over the other.
Right.
Which is, and she doesn't have another role besides being like his right hand person. She's not trying to do another job.
True. Yeah. Right. She's not the science officer or one of the other things. Yeah.
I had managed to avoid all the hooks, if there were any, for the trailers or commercials before seeing this. And so once it became clear what they were going to do, I dreaded that twist. But it was actually, it worked out pretty well. They got some of that awkwardness out of the way at the beginning. They leaned into it and just kind of it turned out to be very funny and personable.
Very easy to screw up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very easy.
Yeah.
It could have been too tedious, too snipey, and
And I hope he doesn't wait 8 seasons to make him a couple again.
Right.
Because you know that's coming. You know that's where it's going.
Do you want them to be a couple again?
Yeah, I think they have to be. I really do. I mean, they should fight like they do. I don't think everything should be paradise for them. But I think if you just make it them bickering all the time...
Yeah.
I mean, there's clearly affection there, and that's part of the draw of them. So I would hope if this show goes on, they get through that in a season or two and, change the dynamic a bit.
And I guess there's always that thing, moonlighting and a lot of other old shows. Once they get together, is the tension gone?
Yeah.
I feel
In this show, they've already got together.
Well, yeah, I feel like a lot of shows now are ignoring that moonlight curse.
Yes. Yeah.
Because for a while it just got ridiculous.
Yeah.
And now shows like Castle or Bones or Chuck will go ahead and put the leads together before you get to the end.
Right.
X-Files, sort of.
Well, yeah. So, yeah, I think they're going to end up together. I just hope they don't draw it out too long.
Well, also, I hope they manage not to make... Well, I suppose that's part of not drawing it out, that they don't make it so that that's
what the show's
the essence of the show is that tension. And so maybe they can move past it.
Well, I think because they have such a large ensemble, that helps that, too.
I think that, and I think the...
Right. Yeah.
MacFarlane's, or at least so far, what it seems like his affection for the old show and the spirit, as you were saying.
Yeah.
I think that it'll be definitely something that's there wherever they go with it. But yeah, a lot of the other characters are very interesting.
The only problem with the husband-wife contrivance, before we get into the other characters, is, and this was an issue Star Trek had with the original series, is Kirk would go on every away mission. You're like, why are you putting the captain there? And Spock would go too. Mm-hmm. And it's like, you've got your 2 people in command on every away mission, but you don't want to separate those 2 characters because that dynamic is key to the Orville. Right. So you kind of have basic, and maybe he's doing it out of affection for Star Trek. Like, I'm just going to let my command go.
That was my thought.
From a logical standpoint, I'm like, you shouldn't.
Is it called the Orville because Orville, right? Does anyone have any?
Or Redenbacher is the one.
Is that what you think?
That was
the popcorn side.
Oddly enough, that's the one that was in my...
Once they get to the 3000th starship, they're running out of names.
I didn't look it up because I didn't want to be... I thought maybe they'd say it.
It was actually Orville Aiken in 2249.
Is that... Oh, there you go. There you go.
Just kidding.
And actually, to that point, that's one of the things we often bring up on the show is on the original series, they never made any reference to anything after the 1960s.
Yeah.
And, other than Khan and a couple other things. Now, on this show, they still had some borderline anachronistic references, but they land as jokes. But
I was going to bring that up. I mean, did they say what year this was?
It just says 400 years in the future.
Okay. All right.
So roughly 2400, which is like Next Generation. Well, actually kind of in between TOS and Next Gen.
Okay.
So...
Although way more advanced than original series, technology-wise.
Since we're on the subject of that, I mean, one of the things I found very interesting was all the pop culture references, and perhaps a little unrealistic, but at the same time, that for me was the Seth MacFarlane touch on what was happening.
Yeah.
Being able to talk about like Star Wars or Kermit the Frog and so forth.
And the ending punchline in the second episode, which we won't give away, but was very...
Yeah, there were a couple of jokes, and like, there's no way those references survive 400 years, but whatever.
As jokes are great. As
Kermit the Frog, I maybe buy. One specific person has an interest in.
Yeah.
I mean, that character's been around a long time.
Sure.
But
But however you feel about 1,000 ways to million ways to die in the West,
1,000? Is it 1,000?
Yeah.
I can't. I couldn't get the title right either.
I liked it too.
I thought it was fun.
It was fine, but I would say that this the live action format is probably more comparable to that type of humor than say Family Guy would be, because
I think that's
way too outlandish.
I think that's a good call.
Yeah.
There were no cutaways.
Yeah, that kind
ridiculous
of thing.
cutaways.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank goodness. View screen. Apparently, that is an actual view screen with a ton of pixels that the cast is like, wow, that's intense to be that close to that screen.
Oh.
Whereas, in Star Trek, it's always been like added later in post.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Huh. Interesting.
Well, I guess back then it would have to be.
Well, I mean,
No, seriously. I mean,
yeah, even in the '90s series,
Yeah.
Some of the things I noticed that made me think of things we've talked about recently on this show. They said that the medical lab was going to have to do time for calling a starship, and I think we just did one where it was one of those distress signals, and I can't remember in the episode of they said something similar. I thought like you can't just send a distress signal for it was either they had to answer the distress signal, or if you do that it's it's illegal or whatever. So I thought that was a good callback. We also saw, and I know we've talked about this, the straight-on battle.
Yes.
Those starships had to be right in front of each other to battle. They couldn't be on different levels.
The same plane.
Yeah, they had to be on the same plane, exactly.
Yeah.
And the sound in space.
Sound in space.
I don't know. Did Firefly get around that ever? I can't remember if they. I feel like there were a couple of moments where they did something that.
I felt like Firefly was more true to the no sound in space than Star Trek would be. Star Trek frequently has sounds in space. This one, it was like the shuttle dodges the other shuttle and there's like a honking sound, and I'm like, okay, come on.
That made me laugh.
It was funny, but it was also
it doesn't make any sense. Yeah. What was their mission? It was to go to the medical lab and drop off supplies.
Yes, they had ordered.
I also like because we've joked many times that the Enterprise's mission was to give physicals, go around to medical facilities and get physicals, and So I like that. It may not have been a purposeful callback, but to me it was because they did a lot in season 1 of the original series. So,
I mean, I liked the whole little story at the med lab.
Oh yeah,
the seed, the tree, all of that was clever.
Yeah,
and not. I mean, kind of amusing, but not like so slapstick.
Right.
But it's,
I
mean, they could have done it in a serious show that the redwood tree.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah, but
I like the bit there of the line to say as you beam over, and that was. That whole time, all I was thinking of was Wrath of Khan when Kirk says, Khan's like, send it over. He's like, it's coming over now, Khan.
Yeah.
And, obviously, MacFarlane played with the Happy Arbor Day. And
I liked the Arbor Day jokes that nobody knew what Arbor Day was.
And that speaks to our point earlier. Is like nobody...
It's MacFarlane humor.
Yeah, exactly.
I thought... it just now occurred to me that it was interesting that they actually did something that most shows don't do, which is they told us the plan before it was actually executed completely.
Ah, that's
There wasn't a whisper.
Yeah, there was, or a knowing, like, I've got an idea, and just or whatever, or some other complete change of plans that they planned it, they carried it through,
Or
and
some
it worked.
coded thing, and then...
I think that's part of the show being more grounded. Except for some of the plot, the second episode with the security officer, but whatever. In some ways, it's more grounded. In other ways, not so much.
I love the security officer.
She's
the
great.
fact that she had her gravity, her powers, for lack of a better term.
Played by Halston Sage, plays Alara Katan. I'm not familiar with this actress. Actually, I wasn't familiar with a lot of the leads.
Well, and when I looked this up, because I just looked on Wikipedia just to get the basic, and I saw that the cast, and I saw her.
Yeah.
I didn't research deep. It was very high level. I thought, she's going to be the daughter, but the fact that she's this character is so much more interesting.
And she's famous for, she was in the Goosebumps movie, Paper Towns, Neighbors, Grown Ups too. So she's done some comedy movies, but she has less than 20 credits. She hasn't been around a lot. There were a decent amount of unknowns. Scott Grimes, definitely MacFarlane regular. He's one of the leads in American Dad, the helmsman.
Oh, okay.
Probably my favorite introduction. I loved Bill and his holodeck.
Yeah. I thought the effects were okay for not having been finished, supposedly.
Yeah, that was...
a lot of them seemed finished, but there were some that weren't.
Yeah, and I think it hits that spot between... we're a weekly series and we only have so much money and looking pretty good and not looking... And also harkening back to the prior incantations of Star Trek or whatever, but also still looking pretty good, not looking cheap. Not... If they look cheesy cheap, then they would suck.
I certainly didn't find anything distracting, I will say. I don't know if my standards are
the effects
maybe not as high as some people.
No,
but
I think,
I liked them.
I think so, too.
My favorite of the leads that I got excited about, besides Adrian Palacki, who I love, I like that Penny Johnson-Gerald is playing.
When I saw she was on here, I was really bought and sold at that point.
Right?
She makes everything better. Yeah.
I mean, she was not a lead, but she was a pretty heavily recurring
She's clearly
character in Space Nine.
Oh, yeah.
So you've got that Star Trek And she's by far not the only. I mean, some of the producers, Brandon Braga is involved, who did Voyager and wrote First Contact and Generations and worked on Next Gen. And Robert Duncan McNeil, who played Lieutenant Paris in Voyager, directed the second episode. Lots of Star Trek credits in the thing. But that having one of the Star Trek actors in it, I thought was great. And if you're going to pick one, she was a great one to pick.
Yeah.
I thought it felt authentic, again, for lack of a better word. I thought the feel of a good grounded sci-fi premise was. I mean, the ship designs and the mechanics of things seemed.
I liked the three engines.
Yeah. I liked when the shuttle. Sorry, this is episode 2. But the shuttle goes over and has the little corridor.
Yeah,
in between,
that's cool.
Yeah.
Which makes sense. And I kept wondering where the transporter was. And they're like, no, we have the money. We're going to use the shuttle. We're not going to use this transporter kind of device.
Yeah, I wonder. It sounds like they're not going to do transporters. Because that was the really advanced aliens.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which is fine. I mean, they got holodecks, but they don't need transporters.
Yeah.
Shuttles are great.
We also saw Jon Favreau was involved. At least
he directed the first
and he's producing.
Pilot, and he
was
was
one of
also
the producers,
producer,
which is cool.
The design of the bridge is neat. It kind of echoes Star Trek, but I thought it was kind of odd how it was open to the hallway behind it.
Yeah.
Even though I like that there's like a little lounge area with the toilet and a replicator right behind the bridge.
Oh, yeah.
And then there's a staircase. In the second episode, we see more of that when the security chief goes in there. But then there's
that's right.
that spiral staircase.
Yeah.
I just kind of liked... They did do the window at the top, which Star Trek's done.
Yeah.
The cage. Remember that shot where they zoom in the window, the head. But I liked the design. It was Star Trek enough, but not too much.
Yeah.
There's also the Star Wars music that they kept.
That was it. Yeah, there was some
There was a lot of Star Trek music, but there was some Star Wars in there too. I mean, he likes both.
And I don't know.
Aside, dude.
And I didn't.
I thought the blending really came through in a lot of things. And I appreciate it.
And I didn't look through the credits to see if they gave those guys Williams and Goldsmith credit for the music.
Yeah, I didn't look at the music credits.
It seemed more than just an homage. It seemed like we ripped this and
pretty close.
And MacFarlane's done that plenty of times in his shows. Speaking of effects, is Bortus CGI or is he makeup?
I think he's makeup. I mean, the actor Peter McCann, who's been like a bunch of movies I've never heard of. I thought it was.
Yeah, I mean, it was definitely him in there. I thought it was more of like a. Who's the guy in the Planet of the Apes movies? Serkis.
Oh, Andy Serkis?
Yeah,
I don't think it's motion capture.
Okay.
It looked rubber to me.
Okay.
But I could be wrong. Maybe touched up CGI, but
yeah.
I doubt they have a full CGI character. I mean, even their robot was clearly there was a guy in there, C-3PO style.
Oh yeah, that guy definitely. Also, there was I looked him up and I forgot his name now. I feel bad. The guy that played Babu on Seinfeld, Brian. I feel bad now. He appears in
the scientist on the planet.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, he's been in tons of stuff.
He's been in a million, I want to get his name right. Brian George.
Yes.
Yeah. Really good actor.
We had some great cameos in episode 2. Holland Taylor and Jeffrey Tambor.
Oh, yeah.
Won't spoil what they are, but they've got some great cameos. And Victor Garber in episode 1.
Right.
They're clearly attracting. I mean, Seth MacFarlane's friends with a lot of people in the industry, and why not? Why not go do a cameo for one day on a really cool, fun sci-fi show?
Oh, yeah. Brian George is Roger's dad on Big Bang Theory as well. So, yeah. Yeah. But it all goes back to Seinfeld. Or Star Trek.
What else?
I saw that this is going to get a big, immediately following Fox football on Sundays. Its first couple episodes.
The first 2.
Yeah, which can go good or bad. It can be, okay, this huge audience is going to go into it, or, this game went into overtime.
Yeah, I think it's going to be preempted or
so it can get.
It'll definitely be pushed, but
it'll get heavy and
as long as they advertise it throughout the football game, you'll get guys stick around, and it is probably going to be more male fans.
Yeah, absolutely, and there'll probably be a Family Guy tie-in in some way in the advertisement or whatever.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, I would think. I mean, they'll definitely make Seth MacFarlane a prime part of that advertisement and play to the strengths of the football audience.
Yeah,
I think that's it. Yeah, I mean, it always frustrates me as someone that doesn't care about sports
Right.
when I can't accurately set my TiVo to record.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
However,
What could happen.
however, historically, shows that air after football and get an air later
Right.
because they get bumped around
Yeah.
actually get higher ratings.
Yeah.
The nights they are after football versus the nights they are on the regular time slot.
Yep.
So as much as I hate it and complain, it actually does give them higher viewers usually.
Yeah, it's true.
Following NFL is a prime spot.
Especially if you follow the Super Bowl.
Yeah. Super Bowl always has the big boost.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I don't know. Football is still pretty much the most watched thing in the United States,
Yeah.
the NFL. So
Yeah, even a game between the two worst teams, you're still going to get a huge crowd.
other than maybe The Walking Dead. Walking Dead's beat the NFL in the demos,
True.
but no other show
True.
like ever has. So
So since I really like the show, I'm hoping that will help.
and if it does help because Walking Dead's so popular, there is a Walking Dead former main cast who cameos in episode 2. If you can recognize them under all the makeup.
Oh. All right.
Anything to get people to watch it. Because I want it to stay on.
Me too. I liked it a lot. I'll be watching alone on my computer probably, but that's okay.
We won't be doing a weekly series like It's All Been Tracked
No.
on it, but yeah.
Yeah. If you like Seth MacFarlane and or Star Trek, you're
Right.
I think you're gonna love it.
Was there anything
At least to start.
you did like about it, Colleen?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't hate it. I wasn't miserable.
It's just not something you would watch. Right now.
Yeah, it's just. I didn't think it was compelling. I thought there were a lot of cliches and
There were.
very predictable, and it's not my humor enough that I was willing to sit through the predictable cliches to get to the one joke that I thought was funny.
I think with Seth MacFarlane, the cliches are kind of the jokes.
Yeah.
That's it's not
And
for everyone.
how much
but I
he's
think
gonna-
he does the cliches on purpose, just as for a humorous effect.
And how much he's going to turn him on its ear or not.
Right.
Or if you think he's going to and then he doesn't. And So I think, we've watched 2 episodes, so we'll see how he does later on or how they do later on. But the potential's there.
Yeah.
And again, just one more spoiler, non-spoiler. He even does a Twilight Zone reference.
Yeah, in the second one.
episode. Which I spotted right away, even before it was revealed. But
So what we're saying is the second one's great because we keep trying to reference it. So tune in next week.
yeah, it is. I thought it was really good.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I highly recommend it.
Me too. I'm gonna set a season pass. On
Yeah, I'm
for
gonna
sure.
figure out what I need to do to watch it in the
It's-
dark by myself.
It'll be on Fox. It'll be easy to get.
Yeah, that's
I also highly recommend it for whatever that's worth. Maybe we'll cancel out Colleen, I'm not sure.
Colleen doesn't know.
It's entitled to not like.
I'm staying quiet. People like what you like.
No, she's entitled. I don't want to gang up on her.
No, we're just
No.
recognizing she didn't like it
Yeah.
that much.
I'm trying to sit quietly over here and not like it. You don't have to keep calling attention to it. You guys like it. Go.
Well, that's okay. We like getting another opinion in as well. We don't want to just be like, oh, this is the half hour where we all heap praise on it.
We
Right.
bring
But
you.
nobody's going to watch a show that they didn't like and then be like, I'm going to go listen to a podcast about it.
That's true.
People that listen to this are going to be people that like the
That's
show.
true.
So I don't want to talk about
Well, there'll be people that like Star
bad
Trek.
things.
Yeah. Or it could be people who are like, I don't know if I want to watch the show or not.
I'll
I want to
give it a
listen to this
listen.
podcast
Yeah.
and see what they say about it.
Maybe.
And they'll be like, those guys sound like they're full of it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna listen to the girl.
Yeah. Any other comments or notes you'd like to talk about? You want to talk about fashion? You do fashion beat?
Fashion. Yeah, I thought the uniforms were like, they didn't try to do anything special with them, which was fine with me. Mm-hmm. Which I prefer.
They have more colors than Star Trek.
They did.
They moved the bars from the wrist in the original series up to their shoulder pads.
That's right.
4 for the captain, 3 for the commander, like 2 for lieutenant, just like Star
simple.
Trek.
Yeah.
I like the insignias.
Mhm.
Different departments.
Yeah, but yeah, I like they didn't try to overdo it. Like, we got to go this whole different direction. Just, you know
Cool
what?
alien designs, and a lot of them.
Yeah.
Yeah. Including Norm Macdonald's kind.
Norm Macdonald is the blob.
And
That's funny.
I think he's coming. I just saw him listed in the cast. Maybe it's
Yeah.
because he's a big name, at least on IMDb or whatever.
Yeah, he had like a line, but
Yeah, but I'm curious to see if he comes back. Or
I hope so.
I imagine at a
I think
minimum
he
he'll
will.
come back to do
Yeah, a little
a
bit
show
bigger.
or some lines
Yeah.
here and there, and be in the commissary or whatever. But
Where do you rank this episode? No, I'm just kidding.
This is the best episode. This is the best Seth MacFarlane Star Trek base.
Yeah, I'd rank the second a little bit higher than the pilot, but
Yeah.
I
think
liked
so,
the
too.
pilot too.
The second one didn't have to deal with exposition
Yeah.
as much. Although it still got into some. We're learning more about, what is it? Bordis.
Yeah, the single gender species. That was interesting.
Yeah. So
Raised a few questions, certainly, but at
Absolutely.
the same time.
But I think the second episode it answered a few of them, although may have given you more questions as well.
I think some of the things they answered at the end helped me answer other questions that I had at the beginning. So,
and
if that's vague enough for you all.
I think Seth and I'm just gonna have you say her name again, Jimmy-Jerome.
Adrian
Licky.
Palicki?
Yeah, I watch those guys all the time.
Palicki?
Palicki, yeah. At least I watch them do this.
Yeah, I like her. I'll watch her.
Oh, yeah,
just about anything. And I'll watch anything Seth MacFarlane does too.
Yeah.
Even the actors I wasn't as familiar with, I thought they gelled well as an ensemble.
Mhm.
Not sure I really like the robot guy yet. We'll see what they do.
I
with
haven't
him.
decided either.
Yeah, on the fence with him, but pretty much everybody else I'm cool with.
Check it out, please.
Yeah,
Watch the football and then watch this. Or if you don't like football,
you can skip.
just skip to.
And if your DVR messes up recording it because of something, I'm sure it's going to be on Hulu. So go to Hulu.
Or on demand.
Yeah. And then we'll return as scheduled 6 weeks after our previous Star Trek episode.
Yeah.
So we'll be back. Enjoy the hiatus and join us for season 2 coming up.
Season 2, episode 1. Live long and prosper.
Well, bye, I guess.